Well, good evening and welcome to Men, Family, and Education Under Fire. I'm your host, Dr. Horace Williams, and you're listening to On-The-Go Radio, powering the voice of community and change. And along with me today is one of my favorite guests to always have, Miss Yo.
Hey.
And welcome, Yo.
How y'all doing? What's up, Dr. Williams?
Hey, here we go again in this space.
You always setting the studio on fire. We always have to put the extinguishers out when you show up.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate my listeners, too, because this is a beautiful time.
Yes.
To enjoy this time or this space with us. And we're talking about powering the voice of community and change. I love it. That tagline right there is going to ring around the country soon. Yo, I believe that.
They don't know. They're not ready.
They ain't ready, but you know what? We're going to be ready for them. Good afternoon, listeners, and it's a pleasure to be with you again. And today we're going to come and speak with you about a topic that's dear to my heart and maybe some of our listeners out there. We're going to talk to you today about the power and value of teaching a strong work ethic to our youth and to our children. Teaching a strong work ethic to our youth and to our children. And before we get started, Yo, I just wanted to say that, in this space, I appreciate you so much.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
And thank you for joining me tonight. And this topic that we're going to get into shortly has a lot to do with our community, has a lot to do with our families, because our young folks are the direct beneficiaries when we teach them how to have a strong work ethic. And I didn't use the word hard because some people say, well, I'd rather work smarter than harder. That's fine. But the fact that if I can teach you at a very young age what is a strong work ethic.
So what do you, when you mention a strong work ethic, what do you remember about how you got yours? Because I think part of it is the challenge is we got something different than they got. Like, how early do you remember working? I
remember working, from the age of 6. My mother was a Southern person. She migrated from the South. She had a large family. They owned a farm. I think she had 9 brothers and sisters. And they all had chores. But my mother used to distinctively tell me that she was washing clothes, she was cleaning up the house, she was even preparing meals at a very young age. And what I gained from my mother was she was a very time management minded person.
To keep it balanced, right?
To keep it balanced.
Right.
She was a very value understanding person in terms of what was important around her. She was full of integrity. And again, her time management to me was the utmost. But I learned at 6, and I'm going to say right here, talking about the parents, that is the very first place that I think that work ethic starts.
That's
with
right.
The parents.
That's right.
And from the kids when they're very young.
That's right.
But there are benefits.
That's right.
And what we want to talk to tonight is to remind the parents that as soon as your child or your youth can pick up on this skill set of working hard, of putting yourself in a situation that you can learn as soon as possible the benefits and value of a strong work ethic.
That's right.
And, you know, let's just talk about this, because we all so think about when we say the term work, oh, it's some physical, it's hard to do. But what we want to set up today is that a good work ethic, a strong work ethic for a young person, see, it supersedes the money.
That's right.
See, sometimes we say, okay, we just want them.
Because it really starts with doing chores.
Starts with doing chores at home.
And everybody wasn't getting allowances.
Come on now.
You was lucky if you got to thank you, because that was your responsibility.
Yeah, amen.
Thank me for vacuuming.
Yes.
What?
Thank you. What? And I'm paying. I'm paying
this
bill.
This is my house. You slept here tonight.
I'm putting shoes on your feet. I'm keeping these utility bills on.
I'm supposed to thank you for doing that.
Did you have
thank you for doing the dishes? Did you eat on them?
Listen, let me tell you about this story. I asked my mother when I was a young man. I didn't know any different then, because we were, I don't say poor in that sense, but I said, "Ma, why don't we have a dishwasher?" She said, "What you talking about? I got 4 of them."
Do you remember?
Yeah, I was 12. She said, "Yeah, I do have 4 of them. Your sister, your brother, and your other brother, and you. I have 4 dishwashers."
What'd she say?
I said, "You know what?
That you're right. Yeah, it's time to leave that alone. Yeah,
on to the next one." But that work ethic supersedes telling your child, just go out and get a job, because the deal is, it's not just for the money. The work ethic says that if I have a strong fortitude to complete a task, one day I may be able to have my own business. I can be an entrepreneur.
One day.
If I can get up and go to work for someone else, I maybe can get up and go to work for myself. Just the same. If I know that I have to be at someone's job at 8 o'clock in the morning, well, maybe if I have enough skills and enough fortitude, I can get up and be at my own place of employment at 8 o'clock in the morning. If I can open up someone else's business on time.
That's right.
Because, you know, there was a stigma about black folks. You're never on time. Can't have a business. No, that's not true.
That's not true.
There's a lot of black folks out here that are running businesses, that are being profitable, that open on time, that do what they tell you what they're going to do.
That's right.
But we have to teach this. Our young folk have to come in some type of contact with individuals, and most of the time it's the adults that they see first. So let's talk about some benefits of a strong work ethic. Start with school. I see a lot of young folks right now tell me that, well, I had a paper to do and I did the minimum. My question
I got to see, so I'm good.
Yeah. I'm saying, so why did you choose to do the minimum? Because that's all that they asked me to do.
I just had to pass.
Yeah, I just tried to pass. And my thoughts become, is that a learned situation? Is that something that someone shared with you to do? Because we have to teach our young folks to go above and beyond. That's the work ethic. There's nothing wrong with doing the maximum. You did the minimum. I'm saying they both start with M's.
That's right. That's
but
right.
We have to teach this, and then we have to lead by example. So when we lead by example, that means that we have to show that our young folks, that those of us parents that have jobs, that we prepare for our jobs, to leave on time.
That's right.
So that we can be there on time. We can show them that we are responsible. We can show them that we value having a job, and that we value making ourselves better. That's called continuous improvement. But let's just go back and talk to the young folks, because we said something earlier, that chores. It starts with chores. I had chores. Oh my!
We had chores.
We had chores. There's nothing wrong with chores.
And feel free, folks that's watching on Facebook Live, to chime in and talk to us about what you remember about and how early you remember gaining a work experience and work ethics. Because when we talk about chores, we're not talking about kids filling out an application, going to McDonald's. You learn work ethics in your house first.
In your house.
Before you learned it anywhere else. And I think that's part of the piece and that's missing, Williams, is that we don't expect or demand that kids contribute in any kind of way. And so how can we expect them to measure up when they go into the classroom and into the workforce?
Absolutely.
And I don't expect you to clean your room in your
Absolutely.
house, in the place you live and sleep every day.
Absolutely. This is part of your job. You're part of the community. But let's just talk about that for an example. Talk about parents giving you chores. I remember specifically my mother would allow you to go to sleep, take your clothes off, and then let you stay in the bed 5 or 10 minutes and say, you didn't do those dishes. Get up out that bed and come do those dishes. And I don't care what time.
Because they weren't trying to be your friend.
They
They
weren't
weren't trying to
be
get
your
you to
friend.
sign off on it.
Yeah, we need more parents in a lot of cases when raising children and less friends.
And this is a really important topic that you have today on your show, men, families, and education under fire. Because a lot of parents in about 3 to 4 weeks are going to be in an uproar and angry because their kids are sitting around all day and doing
Absolutely.
nothing. And they're saying, I need you to go out and get a job. But my question is, they had a job to do in the house for 4 years straight, and you didn't require them to do anything but just go to school and
you
come
didn't
home and
follow
eat up your food.
Absolutely. You didn't do no follow-up. You didn't see if the job was done correctly. And another thing, parents, don't be afraid to say, no, that's not.
I need
that
you to
doesn't
go.
meet the criteria.
How
I
many
need you to
times
do it
our
again.
parents will put those dishes right back in the
Please,
sink?
come on.
Do you
call
hear
this
me?
clean?
You wash them,
Oh, they would
okay,
thank you.
and take all the dishes out. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you be tired and sleep.
Oh,
you
my
didn't
God.
want to do it anyway.
Yes.
Pull all the dishes, not just the dishes that was dirty. See, this is the
All of
lesson
them.
how you learn. They pull all the dishes out the cabinet, all of the cups, and they say wash them all again. You be
Wash
like,
them
but
all
those
again.
weren't even dirty. They dirty now.
They're dirty now. And that's a work
It take
ethic.
one time.
One time. And see, this is the deal. You can charge me for not knowing something once, but I shouldn't have to pay for the same lesson twice. You understand? You can be charged for a lesson once, but you should never be charged for the same lesson twice. And our parents were trying to teach us that, and I appreciate that. But we have to do a better job with teaching this strong work ethic. We have more tools and peripherals than we've ever had in our society right now. And some of those require effort, right, to manipulate, to utilize on a regular basis. Our children tend to do fairly decent with them, right? But as they matriculate into their adult lives, if we teach them the benefits of having a strong work ethic when they're young, that's all they'll know.
That's right.
That's all they'll know. And that'll be fine because they're going to take that with them wherever they go. And it's not doing the minimum, it's doing the maximum. And I'm going to tell you here, listeners, part of my show, and I'm going to say this on every show,
Tell the truth, sir.
we're not placing blame.
Tell the truth.
We're taking more responsibility.
That's right.
This show is not about placing blame on anyone. It's about taking responsibility. Because when we take more responsibility for ourselves and our community, we expect to have a great community and great outcomes. Now, let's talk about some key words when we're looking to teach a strong work ethic to our youth and to our children. Number one, talk about value. The value system that they acquire. Now they know. It took me a little more time to get that room cleaned up. So they'll come in the room, they will start to pick up behind themselves. They will start to clean that kitchen counter off without you having to say, did you just have that? Did you just use this? They'll start understanding, they'll start appreciating when they go into an environment when it's clean and it's kept neat and it's aesthetically pleasing. Organization, strong work ethic causes us to be more organized.
Wow.
How many young folks do we see disorganized? Get up in the morning, where are my shoes? Where are my book bag?
But see, when you don't require them to clean their room, how do you expect them to have a locker that's going to have where their books are, where they can find it? How many times, and you work in a school, we see kids scrambling in the locker, pulling out stuff, dumping it out on the floor and trying to find it because of this disorganized and disarray at home. That transfers everywhere else. And when they move out, the dorm room going to look like that.
Dorm room going to look like
Their
that.
apartment going to look like that.
Apartment going to look like
Husband
that.
and wives are fighting because you can't keep the, I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
I'm pulling back.
Come on, tell the truth.
I'm pulling back.
Tell the truth. But that is so true. And that's why, as an example, the parents, you got to be so conscious and aware of this. It starts at home. And it doesn't take a lot of money to start teaching your youth or your child to have a strong work ethic. Another term, responsibility. When you teach a strong work ethic to your child, The responsibility piece comes into play because now they start to own these chores. They start to own and they're more committed to what you're teaching. Time management. They are more respective of time.
That's right.
Not only theirs, but yours. They will start saying, Mom, Dad, I need this. Now remember, we're going to do this on Friday. Now remember, on the 15th, this is taking place. That is also going toward their maturations as adults.
What about, I got some folks that's chiming in on Facebook. And you mentioned about parents earlier. One person said, I saw my parents wake up and get dressed every morning. And I think we kind of tapped on something because some of this is lessons learned. Even if you're not working, your kids shouldn't see you walking around in pajamas all day.
Absolutely.
You should be in position to go to work if somebody call or opportunity knocks.
Yes. And every moment, and parents, if you're listening, that's a teachable moment. There's a reason why. And to the listener that just wrote in, absolutely. I remember when my kids were small, they knew that I wore a certain outfit to work. That's right. And my wife, they knew you were on your way to work. They said, and my wife would say, Dan, where's your dad? I don't know, Mom, but he was dressed to go to work today. He had his work clothes on. That was teaching him something. He was a young guy. He was only about 8 years old, and he replied like that. So the kids are watching.
That's right.
But the benefits outweigh all of that because we are training them to be adults.
Like this person said, they had their kids mopping, washing clothes, cleaning the bathroom, the kitchen, their bedrooms, etc. But it transferred into them being honor students.
Absolutely. So let's go back to some of the values.
Go back to that.
We talked about responsibility, time management, independent thinkers, commitment, follow-up. Those are all strong words that our young people are capable of having in their vocabulary. But it starts with a strong work ethic.
That's right.
And my mom used to get me on this one. I tried to half do something real quick, run out the house. She let me half do it. Wait, no.
When you thought you was on your way out.
I'm finished. No, you're not hardly finished. You're going to do it this way. And this is the expectation. So what that has taught me as I matriculated into adulthood and had children, I passed that same work ethic along to my children.
That's right.
And I'm happy to say they are so respective of that. So there's value and transferring that type of knowledge to our kids. Independent thinking. When you pass on a strong work ethic to your children, they become independent thinkers. They don't wait for somebody else to do it. They jump right in and say, I'll do it. They become volunteers. They become owners of any project, anything that they're working on.
That's right.
Think about it. In the workplace, if you had 2 or 3 individuals that would volunteer and take care of business that you could delegate things to, we're teaching, we're learning. That's called coach, teach, and train, parents.
That's right.
We have to learn to coach, teach, and train our children to become productive adults. And that's what it's all about. Because if God lets them live, they won't be kids always.
That's right.
And the good side, on the back end of it, guess who will be there taking care of some of this stuff? Parents, your kids are going to reward you. My kids right now are showering me with love, respect. They're saying, Dad, I appreciate you. Mom, I appreciate you for teaching me this skill set. And it is a skill set. The earlier you introduce this skill set,
the better.
The better.
And so when you say early, for some people, they might have little people and they're like, well, they're too small. I don't want to give them too much to do. They're only in the kindergarten, first grade. I remember, Wims, I had my little, I think that you can tailor the experience to the child. Like my small one, because I think she might have been kindergarten, maybe going on first grade. But at that point, it was about colors. Sesame Street, one of these things doesn't belong here. Which one is it? Identifying differences. And so we gave her the responsibility of when we would wash, we dumped all the socks in front of her and she had to match them up and roll them. Match them up and roll them. And now that might seem like a really small, insignificant role. But when you looking for socks in the morning, you got 6 kids. The socks matching up and being rolled up already was a blessing.
Yes, you're not running around
And
scrambling.
it was something within her ability. So I think that and then as she got older and she had the strength to do it, her responsibility was to then empty the dryer and put it into a basket and take it upstairs.
Okay, absolutely. So you built on a responsibility. And what that's teaching is there's value in organization. See, because now you don't have to worry about I have a sock here.
And it brings pride, too, because now they can contribute.
They can contribute. And whenever, so let's talk about how young. I have a granddaughter. She's 3 years old. And when she comes over, I have an area for her to just do her thing. Be creative. Take your toys out, place them anywhere you want to. But after that time is over,
clean it up.
We have a little song, clean up, clean up. And you know, she knows. She cleans up on her own right now, and she's 3. Because now we're introducing her to that piece of valuing organization and picking up behind yourself. But the earlier that you can start this skill set with your children, the more value you will see as they grow, and especially through those teenage years where they start coming into their own. But they need a sense of this as they matriculate to those older years. Now, we'll see it in school. We'll see the benefits. You have a clean locker. They'll get the homework done on time. They'll understand what classes that needs to be attended to. Right? They will understand that I am trying to do the best that I can, not the worst that I can.
And they respect you for what you do every day to help them. And I remember somebody had chimed in and said also transparency and honesty. I remember telling them, sitting them down and saying, listen, I can't do this by myself.
Absolutely.
I need everybody. It's just like when you're building that power team, everybody has to play a role for us to win. And my goal is for us to win every day. I can't do this by myself. And if I try to do it by myself, something's not going to happen, or I'm going to lose my joy in doing it, and I'm going to become bitter and don't like the fact I'm doing it for you and don't like you no more. So everybody, I just told them the truth. Everybody plays a role in it running and feeling good. I said, because I should be able to get a few minutes to myself. There's too many of y'all up in this house for me not to be able to sit down and get a cup of coffee or look at a movie or and all y'all here.
Absolutely.
No, we don't share this.
Well, we're sharing this. This is community effort. the key word, community effort. I'm doing everything that I can do, and I need you to participate. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what a family does. That's what a village does.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this at this juncture. If you're just tuning in,
That's
you
right.
are listening to Men, Family, and Education Under Fire.
Under Fire.
And I'm your host, Dr. Horace Williams.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here today with a guest, Miss Yolanda
That's
Eddings.
right. That's right.
And we are on the go radio.
Yes.
Powering the voice of community and
change.
And if you continue to stay with us, we're going to change the way that our community perceives things, the way they think about themselves, their family, and then the businesses around them, because we're going to come at you with some powerful information.
That's right.
And you can take this to the bank. And we're talking to you today about the value of teaching our youth and our children a strong work ethic.
Yes.
A strong work ethic. It goes a long way. Now, as we were talking here, how early can we start? Early as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
From the moment that you bring your child home, you should be teaching them how your village works, because they're a villager now.
And it starts with them watching and listening to you.
Watching and listening to you.
This is interesting, and I don't think we talked about this piece. They watch how you respond to work.
Absolutely.
So hear me out. They watch, if you come home every day complaining about work, guess what they're going to do?
Absolutely. Complain about work.
I sure don't feel like going in today. And they're going to do the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying we got to put on Happy, Skippy, Joy, the Toyota kick in the air, because we don't be feeling like that every day. But I'm saying if you're modeling for them, you have to give them the positive way to also embrace what responsibility looks like, because they got to go to work if they're going to eat.
You have to go to work. Yep. We live in a capitalistic society. It takes capital to be here.
Even if you're working for yourself, you got to go do something.
If you're working for yourself, and this is one of the options that teaching a strong work ethic will benefit our children in the long run, because we often say, okay, get your education, go to college so you can get a job. Okay, so wait a minute, it's got to be more than just getting a job.
Got to be.
We got to teach more than that. Now, how about get your education, go to college so you can work for yourself? How about that?
I like that, yeah.
And then working for yourself, you still have to be responsible.
That's right.
Oh, but let me go back to teaching the work ethic when we're young. That's one of our valued words.
That's right.
Responsible.
That's right.
Organized. You have to be on time. If someone makes you a manager of their business and they give you the keys and they know they start at 8 o'clock, if my business is open at 8 o'clock and I trust you to be there at 8 o'clock. Well, if you teach a strong work ethic, can't you be at your own job at 8 o'clock?
That's right.
Opening up your own business at 8 o'clock?
Wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you do it? Because you've been trained to do it. And the training goes a long way. We can transfer that training from one skill set, one job position to another, but we first have to have the foundation. The foundation is a strong work ethic. It's going to adjust our attitudes toward work. And you bring up a great point. When we work, when my kids saw me going to work, I wasn't necessarily always happy, but when I came home, when I told them, when they told me, Dad, I want to go on vacation, I said, well, you know, my job, I have to go to work in order for us to be able to afford that vacation. You know, you want those gym shoes, well, guess what? I don't have a money tree outside.
That's right.
So I have to go to work.
And it's funny, when ATMs came out, kids thought all you had to do,
just
wasn't
go to
that
the AMT.
funny?
Yeah, just go to the AMT.
They thought all you had to do is put a card in.
Yeah. But you got to put something in to get something out.
Wow.
And I shared that with my daughter one day. I said, sweetheart, you know, in order for me to go to that little machine over there, I have to put in some time someplace else for them to share that. But that's a real conversation. And again, that's a strong work ethic. There's no shame in saying that I have a 40-hour a week work or job. There's no shame in that game.
Williams, talk a little bit, because I want to help people today. Talk a little bit to folks that say, I hear what you all saying, but I don't have a job right now. How do they instill good work ethics in their children if they're not going to work? And we mentioned that's one big piece of it, modeling that. But I also mentioned it starts with teaching them how to work in the home.
Yes.
So give people a little help with around that one.
Let's just say this, because, and you're 100% correct. When you're at home every day,
and some might be housewives, you know.
Yeah. Is your house clean? Do you have a routine that you start in the morning by making sure that your kitchen is clean, your bed is made up? Those areas that you occupy every day. When your child sees that you value a neat, clean environment, they take on that. They take on that same mindset. They see you preparing, trying to be as neat as possible.
That's good.
If you're vacuuming, if you're mopping, if you're sweeping.
That's good.
Your child, and it's kind of interesting that you bring that up, because, again, my grandchild, she sees me sweeping, and the broom is far too big for her, but she wants that broom.
Oh, honey.
That's a good thing. But we could do those minor chores.
Yeah, go to Toys R Us and get them a little people broom, because they sell them.
And encourage them to help.
Yeah.
If you are dusting and your child see you dusting, invite them to help. If you are polishing the glass, invite them to help. Give them an assignment. I need you to change this garbage liner. It can start off with small things.
That's right.
I started off, I'm going to tell you, folding clothes. I was a kid, and I was 6 to 8 years old. And if my mom is listening, I hope she is, and she's going to see this, I used to go to the laundromat with my mother. Because I knew when I went to the laundromat with her, she taught me how to fold clothes.
That's right.
And to this day, as a grown man, I still like to fold my own clothes and put them in my drawers. But I also knew that she had a little something for me when I went. So that was an incentive. Parents, you can give your kids small incentives. It's not only always have to be money.
Yeah.
But the deal is, if you're sitting around the house and you don't have a job, show your kids that you value work by doing work.
That's good.
Do something. that they can see, oh, mom, mom likes to have this room a certain way.
That's right.
Mom likes to keep her foyer a certain way.
And I think you hit on something too, Williams, that keeps a lot of kids, and I would also say spouses, from contributing and helping, is because nobody can do it like you do it. So because people can't do it the way you do it, you go off on folks and you say, well, why did you put that over there? We never put it over there. Oh my God, I should have just did it myself. And so I would also add, as you're building work ethics in your children, but also building that power team at home, you also have to value what people bring to the table. Absolutely. And not break it down because it's not to your level of perfection. Because we learn even with doing dishes, I know you're about to lose it. Even with doing dishes, no, we didn't wash them right the first time. And y'all know when we teaching kids how to wash dishes, it's a test and a trial. You don't even want to eat on them afterwards. But if you don't, it's the truth. You know how you turn your head and you wash it yourself before you eat on it. And they're like, what you doing? Nothing, baby. You did such a good job.
Right.
But you have to give them a chance to get better, just like us.
Absolutely.
We weren't good in the kitchen when we first started cooking. Cooking is a whole nother level, like a whole nother conversation. But go ahead. Again, I just want to say that because spouses, I hear a lot of people like rag on their spouses. Well, she don't do anything, he don't do anything. But when they tried to do something, you were so non-supportive and appreciative.
And you criticize. And let me chime in because you're absolutely correct. It's not going to be perfect.
It's not.
That's not what we want to teach. It's not the job, it's the ethic.
That's
it's
good.
The commitment.
That's right.
And see, this is what we want to let the children and our youth know. It's not the job, it's not the money, it's the fact that you are willing to try.
That's right.
Because that's what it comes down to, and that's where it's going to separate the average from the above average when you become an adult. Were you willing to try? Did you give it a try? Because you might not get it right the first time. Nobody does.
That's right.
But you have to be in what we call a teachable position. You have to stay a student. But when it comes to cleaning, I'm going to talk about this because this is something that men may say, well, I'm not going to clean the house because I'm the man. I go out and I work. Boy, I love to clean my house. And my wife knows she's got a good man because I go home, there's certain things. And if it's daily, I will clean daily because I appreciate an aesthetically pleasing environment. That's my sanctuary when I walk in. But we have to continue to work with our young folks so they can get better and let them know. I love the way that you did your chores this week. I love the fact that you cleaned the kitchen up very nicely. I like the way that you took care of your bedroom. Let them know when they do a good job. But all we're doing is preparing them for adulthood. This is the end game for our children. We want to prepare them as much as possible for being adults, productive adults.
That's right.
And the things that we take for granted, they're watching. They're watching when you're just sitting around on the couch doing nothing. They're watching when they've gone to school and come back home.
And you in the same spot.
And you're in the same spot. The house is still in an array. And then when they come from school, you tell them, pick that paper up. And when they hit you with, no, wasn't that there when I left this morning? What did you do today? Now, as a parent, you take that offense, but as an offense, but look at what they're telling you. You are teaching me to be a certain way. And again, we're not placing blame.
No,
we're taking
just
more
having
responsibility.
We're
just having a conversation because, again, this is men, family, and education under fire.
Yes.
We're on the Go Radio.
Powering the voice of community and change.
And we want to change our community with some positive aspect because we're going to get better. Every day, every minute, hour, day, week, month, we're going to get better. And this is our job. But this conversation today has to be one that we have to embrace.
Yes.
Strong work ethic.
Yes.
Teaching our children to become independent thinkers. Teaching our children to become doers. Teaching our children become responsibility conscious. Change agents in their own environment. How can you change somebody else's environment if you can't change your own?
That's right.
How can you manage others when you can't manage yourself? We must first learn to manage ourselves, and we're more than capable. And listeners, I want you to know that I love you out there, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to be faithful. We're going to continue to talk about these things that will change our community. We are in the midst of change right now.
Yes.
And let me first say to our listeners this: as we continue to strive for a better place and better quality of living, we're going to bring up some other conversations. We're going to talk to you in depth about educating our kids, education as a whole. How does it affect our household? How does it affect our community? How does it affect our place of business? How does it affect our church?
Right. That's right.
And when we get to these places, I want you to be able to have these conversations with your child, your children, your mates, your husband, your wives, your cousins, your aunties, your neighbors, because it's real.
Would you also say too, Doc, that helping kids have a strong work ethic and values is also sometimes taking them to work with you when you can? And if you can't take them to your job, I know that across the country, in some places, we have Bring Your Kids to Work Day.
Yes.
But I would like to take it further than that. I think in order for them to build that type of foundation, it has to be more than one time. You said, well, yo, I can't do that. But some of you have places where you can, or you know friends who can take your kids with them. And I'm not talking about dumping them. I'm talking about really having an experience. And if it's not maybe at the workplace or the office, maybe they're having an event that your kids can go and volunteer and help out. We have to teach them. You're not always going to get paid for doing something. Sometimes you get paid with having the experience and the fact they allowed you to even come.
Absolutely.
And you get a free meal.
And another excellent point. Let me say this. I personally took my children to Bring Your Kids to Work Day. And if they're out there listening to it, I told you to pay off for you. Didn't I tell you that? So every opportunity that as a person in the workforce, if you can take your children to your place of business and then not only take them, but describe to them
That's right.
what you're doing there, right?
That's right.
Tell them about your job. Tell them about your position. And let them see the other folks that get up and come to work every day. Let them see that it's just not only their parents, their mom, their dad that's coming to work. There's other folks here. I have colleagues that get up and leave their families and come to work every day. And they are aspiring to do the same thing with their families that I'm doing for you.
That's
and
right.
then let them know that your time is coming.
That's right.
You will have an opportunity to experience this ritual. When I call it a ritual, because those of us who have been in this game for years, it is like a ritual. But it has the benefits because there's an end game.
Well, my
helps you take care of the family.
dad worked at Chrysler, and so
Talk
he
about
couldn't
that.
take us to the plant.
Chrysler.
You know what I'm saying?
Different
Because
environment.
but I'm gonna show you what he did, because you couldn't bring. You know, my mother would go sometime and get only so far, or they would have like a staff celebration for something that they were doing, and he might be able to bring her in. So far, they would allow the employees to bring a family member. But what he did do, when they would do their yearly picnics, he made sure he walked us around and introduced us to the people who he would speak of at home.
Yes.
And he'd be like, this is my daughter, Yo-Yo. You know, oh, that's Yo-Yo. Oh, your dad talks about you all the time.
Oh,
you know, so there's a
awesome.
way to make the
Yes.
connection.
Yes.
Even when it's not that you can't physically bring them, you bring, like you said, you share the experiences with them, what you learned. And, you know, this happened at work today. And I'm not talking about like badging your coworkers. I'm talking about really share positive work experiences
day,
with your
yes.
kids where they want. And I had to say that because some people don't understand. Well, I talk about work all the time, but are you talking about it in a way to make your kids want to go to a job?
Absolutely. Want to have a job and want to say, I can't wait till I have the opportunity to have a job.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to learn to create. That's creating value. We have to learn to create value with the simple things.
And a hunger to do it.
And the hunger to do it. Because our young folks, they want to emulate what their parents do in most cases. And if we have an opportunity to expose them to a real working environment, by all means do so. The benefits far outweigh what the takeaways are.
So
You know?
even with my niece, when I was raising her, Maya, she might have been 2, maybe 2.5. And so I would bring her to work with me some days, and she would fit perfectly, like her, because she was so short. She would literally fit perfectly under the cubicle. And so there was like tons of room. So she built her own little office in the cubicle, like under it, because she was so little.
Yes.
And so she had, I found a bag I wasn't using, and she called it her briefcase. She had her papers. I would give her a notebook, and I would start working, and she pulled all her stuff out and set it up under there. Right. I had a little TV, and she could play the videos that she wanted to look at, and that was her office. Awesome. But it was hilarious because she felt like she was working so much, so I had to make her a shirt. So oh no, this is hilarious. So she had this little white polo shirt. So I took our logo off and cut it and sewed it on top, so she looked like she was wearing a shirt like me. And one day, we saw her doing this when she was sitting at the table. We're like, "What are you doing?" She says, "I'm having a workshop with all the people." But I'm just saying, yes, that was her way of simulating what she saw me doing every day. And she couldn't wait. She would beat me getting up some days because she couldn't wait. She used to be like, "Auntie Yo-Yo, we going to work today?" Absolutely. She couldn't wait to go. And so now when they come to work with me, it's not like, "Oh my God, I got to go with you." They look forward to it. So they get their little stuff together and pack up their bags, and they find their little spot, and they get done what they have to get done. But I had to model that for them.
Absolutely. And that brings into mind talking about that, when we were coming up, we would play games outside. We didn't have the videos and all that stuff. And somebody would always be a teacher.
Oh,
Remember that? Somebody would always want to be the teacher, right?
Love to play school.
Playing school. But for the parents, think about that scenario. What a rich conversation you can have with a young person when you bring them to your place of employment and talk to them about working and what you had to prepare yourself, or how do you have to prepare yourself educationally to get this job?
That's right.
What a rich conversation you can have. Think about the dialogue that you can have, and think about how you can use that as motivations for them to complete a task or school by having that dialogue.
That's awesome.
I think that is so awesome.
Wow.
And that is a great example that you just used, but we want to have more of those. We want to create more of those with our young folks. We really do. They deserve it, and we want them to be the best that they can be, and we want to help them to go far and beyond what the imagination is currently at right now. So, I thank you so much for sitting here.
Oh, this is exciting.
Listening.
I think very strongly about this topic, and when you told me what it was, I was like, I'm glad I'm going to be in the room with you about it, because I just think a lot of people, they want their kids to do well at work. But you got to put the time and the investment in. You want your kids to excel. You want them to get promotions. You want them to get the opportunity to get good jobs. You have to give them something where they walk into an organization with value. Like they bring something to the table.
They bring something to the table, because I tell you right now, parents, and I'm going to say it, intelligence is the new currency.
You better say that.
Being smart is the new currency. Teach your young folks to be smart, be intelligent. That is going to pay off so much in the future for them. And so that's why we're pushing that. Not only that, in their relationships with others, in their relationship with you. When you're walking around and you can have a conversation, you're not arguing, you're not fussing, you're not fighting, and you can have an intellectual conversation and get your point across. Oh, what a beautiful scene. What a beautiful time that would be. But I love this particular topic because, again, we're talking to the families. We're talking, we're being surrogate parents, because we're helping our community by saying these are the things that we need to be focused on.
That's right.
And then we don't have time for the other things that are non-value added.
And it kind of takes the place of time wasters in their life when you have them looking for a job. You have them, and I used to tell my kids all the time, if you want a job, you have to be in position to get one.
Yes.
Do you have the right clothes to put on? If somebody called you today, are you ready?
Yes.
And you also have to remember, if you're looking for a job can come to you even when you're out and about with your friends.
Yes.
Are you positioning yourself that you're employable? Because when you acting a fool, ain't nobody hiring no fool. If you're a fool off the clock, you're going to be a fool on the clock.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the way it's going to be perceived. And sometimes perception is 9/10 of the law. So we have to be mindful of that. And when you're teaching, right, when we're talking about a strong work ethic, teaching it to our young folks, that is something that they will matriculate into. It's a natural progression of things. They want to be pleasing. They want to be this professional. They want to do an awesome job. This is not a good job. I'm saying an awesome job, which requires us sometimes to go above and beyond.
That's right.
What we are initially cited to do. So I agree with you 100%. And again, teaching our young folks the value of a strong work ethic.
And for any of those that's watching again on Facebook Live, please chime in and share with us what are some of the things that people showed you and modeled for you that set the tone for a good work ethic. I want there to be a trail so people have some way of going back, not just watching this show, whether it's on SoundCloud, YouTube, podcast, or the video, or on the website, but I want them to be able to look and see the details of what are some of the things that was given to you. I know for me, it was watching my father get up not on time to get to work on time, but to get to work early.
Yes.
Like I remember asking him, I would be like, Dad, but you don't have to be there to 7. He said, but baby, I'm going to leave now because I don't want to be late. I want to be early.
Absolutely. And that is so true. My mother, if she had to be there at 5, she was there at 4:30 because being there at 5, in her mind, you're late.
Because you're supposed to be working already at 5.
At 5, you're supposed to be
now, you know, this is a whole different way that they see things now. Because, you know, we see staff walk in at the time, stop and go get their coffee, sit down and talk to people, and they haven't started touching it. They do at work at 8. They ain't touched nothing until 8:45.
A lot.
And you bet not say nothing.
Right. And look at you strangely when you
like,
say,
you know, I ain't had my coffee yet. Coffee was never part of being to work on time.
Never
you know what? Truth be told, you lucky they give you a cup of coffee and let you have it. Absolutely. Because if I had my way, you'd earn that coffee first.
And you know what?
Is that something?
That's very interesting.
And ain't no sugar, really?
Really?
Because you could have got coffee at your house. Absolutely. Can I get you to go to work?
Absolutely. And you had time to prepare for this. You could have been here an hour ago if you chose to.
I'm sorry, I was in the line at McDonald's. Hold up. So you were late to work because you were in the line at McDonald's because you had to get something to eat, but it's my fault that I'm going to have an issue and right, or we were waiting on you, or someone's waiting to leave to waiting for you to get there because they held you up. And well, if you know McDonald's is raggedy and they're not going to get you out on time, you going to the same one you always go to, and you know they're slow. You need to get there 30 minutes early.
You need to get there early. You need to be there 30 minutes early.
But do you see my point? Absolutely. So when you talk about values, you hit on so many important things.
Yes.
But I don't think adults realize how we break down questionable. We make it questionable values because it's like well, if I got something to do, it justifies the
Absolutely.
end.
Right, and we are good at that. But when we're teaching, we have to remember we're in a position called coach, teach, and train. We talk about this. Adults, we are coach, teaching, and training. We have to set positive examples.
How about calling in procedures?
Yeah. That's a whole right. It's simple. Something simple like that.
So I was taught that if you are going to call in, you should give as much reasonable notice as possible.
Yes.
So let's define what reasonable is, because we got some raggedy adults out there. Don't talk about me. Right. Y'all know I'm telling y'all the truth. If you knew you were sick the night before and you do the work at 9 o'clock and you know you woke up still sick, what's the reasonable time to let your employer know that you're not going to make it? Would you all agree? First thing in the morning, well before the hour, if you already know you still can't go.
Correct.
Or if you do it at 9 o'clock, do you think that it's justifiable to tell somebody you're not going to be there till 10 minutes or at 9? I've had people text me and call me, and it's texting an appropriate way to call in. There's so many things that's on the table today.
Absolutely. So, you know, you can almost send a carrier pigeon now. Tie a little note, say, I'm not going to be in tomorrow. But planning, again, it's
and being considerate.
And not only that, it's called professional courtesy.
Wow. It's
a professional courtesy to let your employer know.
Yep.
It's a professional courtesy. So we're going to talk about that. But when you make excuse, so when you don't do those things and you understand what the procedures are.
Because these are people who signed off. They read the procedure. I've never seen anything like this before. If you know we got an event and you do at work at 9 o'clock, people are coming in at 10. For you to tell me at 9 o'clock you're not going to make it changes the whole scope of things. I don't even have time to get a backup.
Absolutely. And then they should know that in their minds, too.
Because you work with me.
Right.
So you already know what it's going to require and how you jacking us up.
Strong work ethic. That's why we're talking about a strong work ethic.
He's so nice the way he worded it. I said jacked up.
Yes. That's that strong work ethic. And
Jacked
it translates into an adulthood. So if you jacked up, don't be jacked up. Just be mindful.
Wow.
And we're not placing blame. We're taking responsibility. We're taking more responsibility.
So how you feel about people texting and say they're not coming into work?
If that's
because sometimes if it's the established norm,
if that's
let's just say that
it's okay.
If it's established,
the established norm,
I'm good with that.
We're good with it. But if you're one of those person when you're texting, and you know all the time that you got up today, and then all of a sudden you just didn't feel like coming to work, that's the same as taking the phone. Back in the day, putting a towel over the phone, trying to act like your voice. Oh, I'm sick today. Acting like your voice is deep. Same thing.
Hold on.
That's the same thing. You're right. That
I'm
fake
not
cough
feeling
that you
good
do.
still. No, I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm just
same thing. But if you're saying that you could text, if you can send an email of the same day, well, that should be fine. But if you're one of those persons just going to hit them up, I'm going to hit my boss up with this old text. Well, I know I'm supposed to be in the meeting at 9. I'm going to hit him up at 10 minutes to 9. Not considerate. That's right. Called being jacked up.
Jacked up, man.
That's jacked up, and that's not good. But a strong work ethic. We have to have that.
And my thing is, do what you want your employees to do to you.
Absolutely.
Because if you are looking to run and have your own business, you have to model and make the deposits that you would hope that people would make in your business to you.
You want to model the behaviors that you want to see. You want to model those behaviors. And again, it goes back to the children, it goes back to the home, and that's why we started it with the home, because we want to take responsibility for these things moving forward. And some of the things that we've talked about today, by all means, we're going to say utilize some of these tips and techniques. Utilize some of this language. Have some of these words in your children's vocabulary. Value, organization, responsibility, time management, commitment.
That's good.
Follow-up, independent thinking, expect something, expectation. All of these are good words to share with your young folks. So, with that being said, we appreciate the listenership. Those that wrote in online today, thank you so much.
Yes.
We're going to do more of responding to those questions in the future as well, because we appreciate you being a part of this family.
That's right.
And as we move forward, stay with us. We're going to go some places.
Awesome.
And again, this is On The Go Radio, powering the voice of community and change.
Men, Family, and Education Under Fire with Dr. Horace Williams. Dr. Williams, it was such an honor to be your guest on the show today. I so appreciate you having me. And just looking forward to, like I said, you set the studio on fire every time you show up in it. Just such a pleasure to be able to have you in this lineup. Just want to prepare you guys. We're going to be going on the road soon with the On The Go radio station. And so if you're looking for us to come and set up in your place or at your location, not your house.
Your house.
We ain't coming to your house.
We're not coming to your house.
But we will come to your place of business or to your school and set up On The Go radio and bring the host with us and do some live recording. So you can always inbox us or shoot us a message or a text. Thank you all again.
Thank you. And again, it's a pleasure coming to us. Continue to listen with us, and we love you. And you have a great
day.